Welcome to the weekend wrap. Now, full disclaimer, I haven't actually managed to watch the cruiserweight boxer tournament yet. I was a little bit busy when that was on, so I will be catching up on that later on today. However, I managed to see 3 cards that were on last night, so I'm going to talk about each one individually, from the first going all the way up to the last one. So without further ado, let's get into that first one. First things first, Martin Bakole, I owe you a big apology. In the last video, I said that I think Bakole might be in a fat camp for this fight. He's been a bit inactive as of late, hasn't fought that much due to obviously pandemic, and I don't know if he's still officially got a matchroom contract or not. But he went to France and he beat the absolute brakes off of Tony Yoka. A guy I was expecting to probably stop him late, just due to the fact that obviously he must have been a bit vexed that he didn't get the Filip Hrgović fight, because he had this fight that he'd already signed on for, which got delayed. And truthfully, I thought he'd either get stopped or he'll get UD'd, because realistically you're getting to this guy's backyard to go and fight. But lo and behold, 2 of the judges tried to make it so that he was going to get the decision, even though he technically got hit with 2 10-8 rounds in a 10-rounder. Now, credit to Martin Bakole, as I said, he visibly slowed down quite badly from the 4th round. So he's definitely carrying way too much weight. He needs to drop at least another 10 pounds, in my personal opinion. But I think Tony Yoka needs to drop about 195 pounds of Virgil Hunter. He is an awful trainer. Like, the Andre Ward thing aside, he ain't looked good at all since Ward retired. There's not been anyone in his stable that is on that level, quite frankly. And from what I remember, Hunter wasn't in the corner for Yoka's last couple of fights. And there was a very distinct difference between how he fought in those fights as opposed to how he fought in this. Realistically, you're the bigger guy, longer reach, better footwork. You're supposed to stick and move on the slower guy who's setting up for power shots. Try and make him miss when you can make him miss. Absorb what you can and wear him down that way. Like, just keep chipping away at him until he's either ready to go, or you comfortably, drain his gas tank down and just outbox him for the rest of the fight. So I don't know how you go in there with someone that's weighing over 30 pounds more than you and try and sit in the pocket and use your physical strength to push him off. Even if you are stronger than him, look how much energy you're exerting doing that. It was just an awful game plan, and there was absolutely no tactical advice given in the corner that I heard from Virgil. The chief second, I heard him trying to communicate some bits and pieces, but Virgil Hunter's there trying to give revolutionary speeches and sermons. Like, that's not what your fighter needed in that time. And outside of that, the one good thing I will say is, in the last video I did talk about, sort of Tony's chin, and the best chins are the ones that don't get tested, and clearly it must have improved because he's not getting hit in it as much. Well, he took quite a few flush shots and he held up to most of it, so I don't really think that stigma of him being chinny is as great as it previously was. So I give him some credit for that, but he definitely, as far as I'm concerned, needs a new trainer. He's gonna have to do some soul searching, because this isn't the type of fight he's supposed to be losing if he wanted to be, any type of threat to the division moving forward. But Martin Bakole's clearly got a lot left in the tank, and he will definitely be in some fun fights moving forward. I don't necessarily know who, but he should have some options now. Like, he just beat an Olympic gold medalist. So congrats to Martin Bakole and Billy Nelson. That's one that I got wrong. We'll see if there was any others. So the next card that was on, that I was watching, was the DAZN card. Now, I didn't actually see a lot of this live because I believe I fell asleep. But there were 3 very good fights on there. The best of which was Rene Alvarado and William Zepeda. That was a great 10-rounder. There was also scrappy John Ramirez with probably the highlight knockout of the year thus far. I think the guy's name he was fighting was Solitero. Knocked him clean through the ropes. Someone had to grab him to make sure his head didn't hit the ground on the way down. Yeah, great knockout there. But ultimately, I predicted that Zurdo Ramirez would stop Dominic Bozell, and he did within 4 rounds. So there wasn't a huge amount to talk about with regards to that one. But Rene Alvarado and William Zepeda was definitely a fun scrap, and I've watched it twice since. So I will be watching that one again. But because I didn't really pay too much attention to this card, because a lot of it was a foregone conclusion, I haven't really got much takes on it. Ramirez called out Bivol after the fight, which he's done a couple times previously. It just feels a bit weird that initially he said he wanted to fight Bivol, had the chance to join Matchroom, who Bivol was with, and then chose to join Golden Boy instead. Well, actually, he chose to do his own promotional thing first, then chose to go to Golden Boy instead of going Matchroom, where the fight could have just been made quite easily. But they're both on their own, so if it can be made, you know, prior to the Canelo rematch potentially, or the Undisputed, because I'm sure the WBA wouldn't you know, force Ramirez on him if the Undisputed can be made next if Canelo doesn't take it. Yeah, it should be a good, interesting little time in the division. But yeah, that's pretty much the DAZN card in a nutshell. Now, I guess you could call this one the main event. Now, this was the Showtime card with the Undisputed title fight between Jermell Charlo and Brian Castano. Now, on the undercard, the only match of note that I took notice of was Jaron Boots Ennis versus Castillo Clayton. Now, in my preview video, I said there's a chance that Boots could get the knockout, but I thought that because Castillo Clayton is very good with his footwork, you know, he's a good pure boxer, he would be able to sort of take Jaron late and make him have to work for his victory. But I did ultimately think that Jaron would get a victory, whether it was a very late stoppage or a unanimous decision. In that video, I also said that it all depends on if Castillo Clayton's inactivity is going to show in this fight, as since the pandemic's come across, he's only been able to have one fight a year for the last 3 years. This will be his 3rd fight in 3 years. So not great, especially as he's getting older, so it's harder to keep those reflexes sharp when they're not being utilized as much. But Boots made a complete liar out of me, because he dispatched with Castillo Clayton within 2 rounds with a very nasty overhand right that hit Castillo. It looked to me like towards the back of the head, but I guess it was that temple shot which just like totally destroyed his equilibrium. Like, his eyes were clear, you could see his eyes were clear. It wasn't hurt to the point like, oh, like, where am I? But the whole body, the equilibrium was gone. He couldn't get up, he couldn't move properly, he was stumbling about the place. It was a fair stoppage. There was no way that fight was going to continue, and it definitely wouldn't have ended well after that. So I mean, while I got the right person, the method of victory was horribly wrong in that one. And Boots just keeps showing that he is like the guy right now. You know, you beat who's put in front of you, and you know, I don't want anyone to try and say, oh, well, Castillo Clayton was, you know, some dead opponent. No, he was a very, very good opponent, and the loss might make people think that he wasn't if they've never seen him before. But believe you me, I can almost guarantee he'll probably be in the ring with Conor Benn within 1.5 years, 2 years after he's had a bounce back win, because that would be the type of step up fight you would give to someone like Conor. Boots called out Errol Spence afterwards, because Errol Spence was in the crowd. He said, "Oh, I see the big fishes here. It's time to go fishing." So now he's pretty much going to be declared the mandatory for the IBF. But I know the WBA, I think, is the next one in the rotation. So we'll see where that goes. But well done to Boots. He keeps stepping up the levels. And to be fair, he's dispatched of Clayton better than probably Spence or Crawford would have, because I don't think they would have got him out within 2 rounds. But good stuff. On to the main event. Now, I did tell people, Danny, Tony, I was on the breakdown last week. I told people Jermell Charlo is going to KO Brian Castano in this fight. All because Jermell Charlo can make more adjustments in the fight than Brian Castano can, because Castano is a textbook pressure fighter. Yeah, he's got decent amateur ability, but he's a pressure fighter. He comes forward, high guard, he looks to unload shots and swarm his opponents. Jermell Charlo is a classic boxer puncher. A boxer puncher always has a stylistic advantage against a pressure fighter because they've got power and boxing ability. So he would have been able to make the adjustments from the first fight, understood what the power level was like then, and decided, okay, this is the kind of shots he's going to throw at me. These are the kind of shots I need to throw at him. And every time I threw this in the previous fight, it rocked him or it hurt him. So I've got to make sure that I hide those early and set those up late. Lo and behold, hit him with that counter left in the 10th round, and Castano crumbled to the floor. He got up, but got hit with a barrage after that, and it was over. So yeah, I was definitely right in that prediction, as I should have been. Yeah. Anyway, so that's pretty much like the main stuff from the night. But I got one more for you. Okay, you know what? I watched the Triller card. Primarily, like, if you guys know me, I'm a hip-hop head, have been for pretty much the whole of my life. So watching the whole, Cypress Hill and Onyx battle was an intriguing thing for me. Plus, it cost me like £2.60 to buy it. So I bought the Triller card. And on that card, you had Kubrat Pulev against Jerry Forrest. I was very keen to see that fight because Forrest always puts up a good scrap against anyone he's in the ring with. Now, admittedly, I was a bit wishy-washy on this one, but I went with my heart and said I want Jerry Forrest to do it, purely because I saw how he dealt with Zhang Zhilei and got the bad draw. Well, it wasn't even a bad draw. It was a deserved draw based on how the fight was, getting knocked down 3 times in the first 3 rounds. The draw was the best he was going to get unless he got knockdowns himself. But he did that. He got robbed in the Michael Hunter rematch. And every time I've seen him, he's just kind of been improving as of late. He got robbed in the Jermaine Franklin fight as well. So, I just looked at it and said, Kubrat Pulev getting on 41. He's got a great jab, great ramrod jab, but he's got no power in the right hand. So I don't think he's going to be able to knock out Forrest. And if Forrest just outworks him, I feel like he can get the fight on points. Now, first few rounds, Forrest was doing well. And then I had it 2-1 after the first 3 rounds to him. Then 4th round came out. He, sort of Kubrat Pulev kind of controlled it. And then sort of 5th, 6th and 7th, all of a sudden, like, Forrest, his legs just look gone. I've never seen him look as gassed as he was and shell-shocked as he was in those rounds. I literally thought he was going to end up getting stopped. But again, as I said, Pulev don't have power in the right hand. Less than a 50% knockout rate as a heavyweight. So yeah, Forrest managed to survive that, and he ended up rallying back towards the end, but just didn't have enough stamina left to kind of, get the job done as such. So I gave him 3 rounds. I gave him the 1st, the 3rd, and I think the 9th. I can't remember about the 8th. I'd have to watch it again. But Kubrat Pulev, I'm assuming it was a unanimous decision because I actually switched off before that to do something else on my phone because I had 2 different streams going on at the same time. So yeah, got that one wrong, but as I said, that was one of those ones I was doing off of just hope and a prayer more than anything else. And the same goes with the main event, which I did actually get right, because I said that I believe Kovalev would beat him provided he came in at 185, you know, or below 190, which he did. I said I think it would be a points thing, but again, I did it on vibes because I'd never seen Turvel Pulev fight before. I just knew he was a bronze medalist in the Olympics. Fights a little bit like his brother, but nowhere near as tidy or as respectable. There was a lot of dirty backhands that he was landing, which the ref had to warn him about a few times. But Kovalev looked quite good up at you know, at cruiserweight, except for maybe sort of the last couple of rounds. He looked a bit shaky, so maybe the extra, he said afterwards, the extra weight kind of, you know, it affects him a little bit because he wasn't used to it. But he said he wants another 1 or 2 sort of, you know, lower level fights just to kind of get himself in check, and then he wants to go for a title after that. But I mean, he boxed well behind the jab. The movement was good. Defense was pretty good as well. The right hands were popping quite nicely as well. So, you know, overall, I thought that was a nice little fun card with a good bout of music to start off with, you know. I like the alternative entertainment from time to time. There was, like I said, there was some good stuff. Watching Onyx and Cypress Hill took me back. I was enjoying that. So yeah, that's the weekend in a nutshell. Overall, let me see. So I got Tony Yoka wrong. I got Zerdo Ramirez right. I got Boots right, but the method was wrong ish. I got Charlo right. I got what was it, Jerry Forrest, I got that one wrong, and I got Kovalev right. So I think, what was that, 4-2? I think I was 4-2 overall in terms of right picks on the night. Can't complain, I suppose. I guess I got to mention the fact that Evan Holyfield got absolutely sparked out, you know, which was a total shock. I didn't watch the fight itself. I saw the highlight of it, but yeah, like if you look at, he was like 1 to 100 odds to win that fight. So yeah, that really ain't gonna do him any good moving forward, but them's the breaks. Anyway, let me leave that one there. Might have an episode of the Hardcore Casual on a bit later on today. I'm gonna get started on the next episode of Femme Files, which will be dropping on Wednesday. And yeah, we got some content to talk about because Joshua Boatsi and Craig Richards is coming up next week. But for now, let me leave it there.